GM, this is Yash once again from AI Summit Day 3, and I have Neysa team with me once again. Thank you so much, sir, for joining.
My pleasure.
And before getting the conversation started, we'd love to know if you can give a little bit of introduction and then we can get the conversation started.
Sure. My name is Karan Kirpalani. I'm the Chief Product Officer for Neysa. Neysa is an end-to-end AI cloud services provider. Our flagship product, Velocis, is a end-to-end AI cloud platform which enables clients' AI initiatives all the way from training to fine-tuning to inference. We help our clients get their AI use cases into production on our AI cloud quickly, efficiently, cost-effectively, and most importantly, probably in a robust enough way to be able to make sure that it scales in production.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir, for doing that. I think a lot of people are actually building cloud services. Do you mind sharing what differentiates Neysa from that?
So that's a very good question. I think what a lot of AI neoclouds do is a lot of neoclouds are aligned predominantly to just be the fundamental infrastructure orchestration. Here's a server with GPUs, or here's a virtual machine with GPUs, or here's some containers with GPUs in them, and then we give that to you, and then you build whatever you want to build on top of that. What Neysa does is we do all of that. So if you just want the infrastructure and GPUs at scale, happy to be able to do that in a sovereign AI cloud environment. We have thousands of GPUs running in state-of-the-art data centers in India. But what we realized very quickly is for a large percentage of the Indian market, that doesn't necessarily solve the problem. Most people struggle with what's called the triangulation use case.
Yeah.
I have a business use case. I don't know what model to use to enable that use case. And I don't know what GPU to use to be able to power the model. Which is why you find and you hear a lot of talk about POCs failing, right? We enable that triangulation for you very, very, very easily. Our teams work with your teams to understand what's your use case. Let us help you identify the right model, configure and optimize that model based on your data, and align the right infrastructure to be able to power that model at scale, right? So that is a problem that we actually solve. And we built an entire platform that allows clients to actually deploy and build on top of the infrastructure very, very quickly with a simple click. You want to, open a Jupyter notebook, click, open. You want to push a model into inference for your own personal use or for your organization, click, deploy, and you get tokens at scale. So when you offer that level of value creation on top of just infrastructure, then the number of so-called neoclouds, then that number starts to shrink.
Yes, absolutely. And I think you being a chief product officer, would love to hear what are some of the best use cases that you are personally seeing?
Actually, the use cases are so diverse, right? Because we've got, we're enabling India's leading technology and research and educational institutions like TIH on the BharatJan initiative to be able to deploy India's next generation of LLMs, right? So BharatJan's created the Param LLM that's running on the Neysa stack right now. When it comes to enterprises and AI builders, we work with a whole bunch of different ISVs who've created their own AI offerings. So, for example, we work with somebody who's doing speech to text. We work with clients who are building out their own agentic offerings for their end consumers. So they use Velocis as the cloud platform to be able to build their stack on and then to be able to put that stack into production for their clients as well. We power most of India's, indirectly we power India's entire travel ecosystem. One of our clients has an entire what's called a retail travel engine which powers all of the travel portals, and they do hundreds of billions of tokens at scale every month. And all of that runs on Velocis, right? And we were able to do this at almost a 85 to a 90% reduction in TCO compared to what some of the builds would have been on, say, proprietary LLMs or traditional hyperscalers.
Absolutely.
And the reason we are able to do that is because we are a focused AI neocloud, and the Velocis platform was built from the grounds up to be able to specifically focus to the AI use case.
Perfect. Now, I think you talked a little bit about POCs failing, right? Do you think now with all the coding tools getting better, right? All of the vibe coding tools, I would rather say. Do you think the boundary or the barrier to enter is low?
I think that's what AI does, right? AI democratizes productivity, right? We talk about democratizing AI, but AI democratizes productivity. I think there's this conversation that's had around, oh, AI will adversely impact jobs. And I genuinely don't believe that. I believe that AI is going to be a net job value creator rather than a disruptor. So we always tell people, please consider AI, whether you're an individual or whether you have a role in a particular organization. Please look at AI as an ally and not an adversary. And we find that the people who tend to deploy it and put it into production best and the organizations who do it best are the ones who took the approach where AI is an ally and not an adversary.
Perfect, perfect. Now, I think with the rise of OpenClaw, right?
Yeah.
And the whole agentic system getting better.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? Do you think the whole agentic system would be, done in a one-click way, and people can, regular people like mom and dad could use that?
I don't know if I think to be able to build it out is not necessarily one click. And I don't know about your mom, but my mom certainly can't deploy OpenClaw. I'm actually looking as a side project just to deploy it at home on my own infrastructure. I genuinely believe that 2026 is going to be the year where agents really start to come into their own. I think the value proposition of agents is pretty undisputed right now. But the enterprises need to see is how those agents can be deployed securely and in a compliant fashion within their organization. I think for you and I, as a side project that we want to tinker at home, sure, OpenClaw is lovely, right?
Yeah.
I want to be able to tell OpenClaw, do this for me and do that for me. And that is precisely what, this is going. At the end of the day, what it is a truly intelligent digital assistant, right? And I think seeing the success of this and how it can be done, a lot of people will actually start looking at being able to see how that technology and how that productivity can come into the enterprise right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, do you want to comment a little bit about, do you think there's a relevance with robotics as well?
I think so. We've seen, I think in addition to agents, 2026 and possibly 27 is going to be, you're going to see the physical manifestation of AI. That's going to be in robotics. And I know that, there are some things that hog the news, like Optimus, for example. Yeah. I heard that Elon was actually shutting down Model X and Model S production lines to be able to convert them into Optimus. I think once that flywheel starts to spin, where the first batch of humanoid robots, for example, reach production, then that flywheel will start to spin exponentially. Another manifestation of physical AI obviously is in FSA. I was in California recently. I'm going to be back there again next month, and just it's freaky to see completely self-driving cars, but it's great to be able to see that as well.
Absolutely.
I can't think of a single technology that's going to
not be impacted by AI, right? Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. I think my last question to you would be, firstly, congratulations on the 1.2 billion raise.
Thank you.
And building deep tech in India is pretty hard. Any one last tip that you'd like to give to a founder that's building in deep tech?
I can speak to our journey. I wouldn't presume or be arrogant enough to, or to be smart enough to advise other founders.
Yeah.
I think what we did was we found a use case, we found a gap in the market, and then Neysa is comprised by builders. We are builders at heart, we're creators at heart, we're product people and engineers at heart. Even our sales folks fall into that category. So once you identify that need and you identify that gap, then to just roll up your sleeves, put your head down, and just build like your life depended on it.
Because it does.
Because it does. And I think what you talked about the Blackstone investment, and that I think is a culmination of following that philosophy and putting in the hard yards over the last couple of years.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir, for joining.
Yeah.
We'll catch you soon.
Cheers.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much, sir.